There comes a moment in everyone's life when they feel overwhelmed. Too many responsibilities, too many expectations, too many distractions, and suddenly, life feels crowded, as if your entire world is a jar filled to the top, yet still strangely empty. This is the story of a wise professor, a simple glass jar, and a classroom that learned one of the most important truths about living a meaningful life. One afternoon, the professor walked into class holding a large empty jar. The students whispered to each other, "What is he doing? Is this another experiment?" He didn't speak, he just smiled, placed the jar on the table, and let the silence settle, long enough for everyone's curiosity to rise. Then, without a word, he lifted a bag of large rocks and slowly dropped them into the jar. Clink, clink, clink. When the jar reached the top, he asked, "Is the jar full?" The students nodded confidently. "Yes, Professor, it's full." The professor smiled, that gentle, mysterious smile that meant the lesson had only begun. He pointed to the large rocks inside the jar. "These are the big things in life," he said softly. "Your family, your health, your purpose, your relationships, your dreams." The room became silent. Everyone felt those words. He continued, "If you lose everything but still have these, your life is still full." Students lowered their eyes, each one thinking about someone they loved, someone they had forgotten to appreciate. Then the professor took a second bag, filled with small pebbles, and slowly poured them into the jar. The pebbles slid into the empty spaces between the rocks. "These are the smaller things," he said. "Your job, your house, your possessions." The class watched in silence. They matter, but they are not the foundation of your life. Many students nodded. They had seen their parents working endlessly for money and slowly losing themselves. Next, he took a bag of soft white sand and poured it gently into the jar. The sand filled every tiny gap. "This," the professor said, "is everything small that steals your time." He paused, scrolling endlessly on your phone, arguing about meaningless things, comparing yourself to others, buying what you don't need, living for approval, the distractions that fill your days but not your life. The students swallowed hard. Everyone felt exposed. Then, with a warm smile, the professor took a small cup of water and poured it into the jar. The water slid gently into the last remaining spaces. A student raised her hand. "If the rocks are the big things and the sand is the noise, then what does the water represent?" The professor's eyes softened. "The little joys." He spoke slowly, as if pouring meaning into every word. A walk at sunrise, a warm cup of tea, a short phone call with your mother, a genuine laugh with a friend, a quiet moment to breathe. The simple joys that make the journey beautiful, even when life feels heavy. The room softened. Some students smiled. Others looked like they were holding back tears. Then the professor asked, "What would happen if I poured the sand first?" The students immediately understood. There would be no room for the rocks. He nodded. "If you fill your life with noise, you will have no space for what truly matters." Then he said words that felt like they were spoken to each person individually. Most people live reacting, not choosing. They allow noise to fill their days and wonder why their hearts feel empty. Silence descended on the room. A healing kind of silence. The professor placed his hand gently on the jar. Life is not about doing everything. Life is about choosing what deserves space. He looked at the students with warmth. If you put your rocks in first, the things that make your life meaningful, everything else will find its place. But if you fill your life with distractions, you will lose the things you cannot replace. Those words lingered in the air like a soft echo in the heart. One student thought about her mother, who always waited for her late-night calls. Another thought of his dream to be an artist, buried under endless hours on social media. Another remembered pushing away friendships because he was too busy. The jar was not just a jar. It was a mirror. Before leaving the classroom, the professor gave them the final truth. You will never have time for everything, but you will always have time for the things you choose. He closed the lid of the jar gently, as if sealing the meaning inside it forever. Choose your rocks carefully, because once life fills with sand, you may never find them again. Life will always try to fill your days with sand, with noise, with rush, with distractions. But your days are your jar. Your heart is your jar. Your life is your jar. If you don't decide what goes in first, life will decide for you. So choose wisely. Choose the people you love. Choose the moments that nourish your soul. Choose growth, gratitude, and peace. Choose the dreams that light your heart, and let everything else settle into the spaces in between. Because a meaningful life is not a jar that is full. It is a jar that is full of the right things. Thanks for watching.